Earlier, we saw Wei cut the valance off the bottom of the main body of the fabric. This is what that valance is going to become. We have a sample here, or a series of sample here, to show different scallop patterns of our valances and how each of them matches perfectly to the stripe pattern of the awning. Now, this is a process that we used to do by hand drawing each scallop pattern, matching it to the fabric. And it was a very time-consuming and somewhat tedious process. We've now been able to automate that with a valance scallop cutting machine. This machine is also linked into our computer systems, and it's speaking to the job order file as well as the ultrasonic cutter, and it's getting information from all of those systems. Programmed into it is the stripe pattern of every fabric in our collection, as well as the scallop pattern of every fabric in our collection, and it will automatically load and cut the scallop pattern of the valance, perfectly matching scallop to stripe. So let's take a look at that. This cutter is actually a punch process, and within that device there's a punch that's oscillating about 1,000 times a minute, and it's punching the fabric to cut it, putting in a perfectly matched scallop pattern. And what we result in, Moy, could I have that for just a second? What we end up with is a scallop pattern that matches the stripe pattern of the awning beautifully. As the final step of the preparation of the fabric, Moy is going to put a piece of color-matched braid binding on the bottom of this edge to seal it up and as a decorative element. This operation, attaching the braid binding, is probably our most traditional sewing room activity, and probably requires the most craft to do this sewing well. The binding that we're attaching here is also an acrylic fiber, so that won't deteriorate at all, the same way that the fabric will not deteriorate. It will remain color fast, not mold, not mildew, and not rot for the life of the awning. And finally, the last step here is we trim the tail of that braid binding off with a small ultrasonic cutter. Again, the benefit of the ultrasonic is that it seals the fabric as it cuts it, but it doesn't burn it, and it prevents it from ever fraying.